What happens when the greatest city in the world runs out of money? When police can't respond to 911 calls? When fires burn for days and nobody comes? New York City nearly died between 1975 and 1981. And the people who lived through it, they remember everything. These are their stories. Stories that echo louder today than most people realize. October 1975, New York City stood hours away from bankruptcy. President Gerald Ford refused federal help. The Daily News ran the most famous headline in newspaper history: Ford to city, drop dead. The city owed $14 billion. Nobody would loan them another penny. Mayor Abe Beame made a choice. He slashed 65,000 jobs overnight. 1/3 of the police force? Gone. Firefighters? Laid off by the thousands. Sanitation workers, teachers, hospital staff eliminated. Garbage piled 8 feet high on sidewalks for weeks. Rats the size of cats roamed freely through Manhattan streets. Police response times stretched to hours, if they came at all. A woman in Brooklyn called 911 after hearing intruders breaking into her apartment. The dispatcher was honest. "Ma'am, we have no units available. Lock your door and pray." This wasn't a third world country. This was New York City, the financial capital of the world. And it was collapsing. The Financial Control Board seized power from elected officials. An unelected group of bankers now controlled the city. Democracy had failed. Technocracy took over. Sound familiar? October 1977, Game 2 of the World Series at Yankee Stadium. ABC's cameras panned across the Bronx skyline. Multiple buildings blazed against the night sky. Howard Cosell's voice cut through the broadcast. "There it is, ladies and gentlemen. The Bronx is burning." But here's what most people don't know. Landlords were setting those fires themselves. Buildings in the South Bronx had become worthless. Nobody paid rent. The city couldn't collect taxes, so landlords hired arsonists. Burn the building, collect the insurance, walk away. Fire companies responded to 40, 50, sometimes 60 fires per night. Firefighters called it the war years. Charlotte Street became a wasteland. When President Jimmy Carter visited in 1977, he stood in ruins that looked like bombed Dresden in 1945. Entire blocks reduced to rubble. No windows, no roofs, just hollow brick skeletons. The South Bronx lost 600,000 residents in the 70s. 600,000 people fled. What they left behind resembled a post-apocalyptic movie set, except it was real. Gangs claimed the ruins as territory. Children played in burned-out buildings where bodies were sometimes found. This was America's greatest city. Let that sink in. July 13th, 1977, 9:34 p.m. Lightning struck power lines in Westchester County. Within 25 minutes, all of New York City went dark. What happened next shocked the nation. Within 1 hour, looting exploded across the city. Not small-scale theft, organized, violent chaos. In Brooklyn's Bushwick neighborhood, entire stores were stripped to the studs. Looters didn't just take merchandise. They ripped copper wiring from walls. They stole refrigeration units. They removed metal security gates with blowtorches. On Broadway in Bushwick, 134 stores were destroyed in one night. Destroyed, not robbed. Destroyed. Over 1,000 fires burned simultaneously. Firefighters couldn't respond fast enough. Some neighborhoods just burned. Police arrested over 4,000 people. The courts couldn't process them. Suspects were released within hours, many returning to loot again the same night. A shop owner in the Bronx stood guard with a baseball bat. He watched his neighbors' businesses burn while his survived. His reflection years later: "We learned the city couldn't protect us, so we stopped expecting them to." The 1977 blackout revealed a terrifying truth. Civilization is thinner than we think. Remove the lights, remove the police, and chaos erupts in minutes. 25 hours of darkness, $300 million in damages. A city that learned it was on its own. For 13 months, New York lived in fear of a killer nobody could catch, David Berkowitz, the son of Sam, the .44 caliber killer. He hunted young couples in parked cars across Queens and the Bronx. 13 people shot, 6 killed, random, senseless, unstoppable. Women with long brown hair cut it short, dyed it blonde, changed their entire appearance to avoid matching his victim profile. Discos in Queens emptied, couples stopped going out. The nightlife that defined New York youth culture evaporated. But here's the deeper wound. Son of Sam exposed how helpless the NYPD had become. With budget cuts, with layoffs, with morale destroyed, they couldn't catch one man with a revolver. He taunted police through letters to newspapers. Jimmy Breslin published them. The killer became a media celebrity while people died. When they finally caught him in August 1977, it wasn't through detective work, a parking ticket, pure luck. A city of 8 million people, paralyzed by one postal worker with a gun. The message was clear: you're not safe, and nobody's coming to save you. While the Bronx burned and Son of Sam hunted, another New York came alive after dark. Studio 54. If you made it past the velvet ropes, you entered a world where the city's collapse simply didn't exist. Steve Rubel stood at the door like a Roman emperor. He decided who entered paradise and who stayed in hell. Celebrities, artists, beautiful nobodies with the right look. They danced under chandeliers while sanitation workers picketed 3 blocks away. Bianca Jagger rode a white horse across the dance floor. Andy Warhol photographed drag queens doing cocaine off mirrors. Liza Minnelli sang until sunrise. Outside, unemployment, arson, murder. Inside, champagne fountains, silk gowns, and the illusion that none of it mattered. Studio 54 wasn't a rebellion. It wasn't solidarity with the struggling city. It was an escape for those who could afford it. The factory worker in Queens? Never getting in. The cab driver working double shifts? Not on the list. The single mother in the South Bronx watching her neighborhood burn? She wasn't invited to the party. This was New York's brutal truth. While the city died, the elite danced. 2 cities, same address, 1 invitation only. And when the music stopped at 4 a.m., everyone went home to the same collapsing metropolis. Except some people had penthouses to retreat to, and most had nothing. Emergency room doctors in the late 70s developed a dark skill, identifying crimes by injury patterns. Stabbings peaked on Friday nights, gunshots on Saturdays, beatings clustered around check-cashing stores on the 1st and 15th of each month. Crime wasn't random. It was predictable, systematic, organized around the rhythms of poverty and desperation. Subway crime exploded 400% between 1975 and 1981. 400%. Riding the train after dark became Russian roulette. Entire subway cars would empty when suspicious groups entered. Women carried hairspray as makeshift mace. Men walked with keys protruding between their knuckles. The Guardian Angels formed in 1979, volunteers in red berets patrolling subways because police couldn't or wouldn't. A McDonald's manager in the Bronx kept count of 911 calls. In 1 year, 347 calls. Police responded to 12. He stopped calling, started handling robberies himself, confronted armed criminals over the counter because waiting for police meant losing everything. When the law stops protecting you, what do you become? New Yorkers found out. May 25th, 1979, Soho, Manhattan. 6-year-old Etan Patz walked 2 blocks to his school bus stop. His mother watched from the window. It was his first time walking alone. He vanished, no body, no witnesses, no answers. The search became the largest missing child investigation in New York history. His face appeared on milk cartons nationwide, starting a tradition that continues today. But Etan's disappearance revealed something darker about 1970s New York. Children weren't safe walking 2 blocks in broad daylight. Parents realized the city had become predatory, not just economically collapsed, not just financially broken, but morally degraded to a point where a child could disappear in minutes and leave no trace. The Lower East Side, where artists and misfits had created a bohemian paradise in cheap rent, was also a hunting ground. Squatters occupied abandoned buildings. Drug dealers controlled street corners. Predators moved freely in neighborhoods where police rarely patrolled. Etan's case remained unsolved for 33 years. In 2012, a man finally confessed. But by then, the damage was done. An entire generation of New York children grew up locked indoors. Helicopter parenting was born in the ashes of 1970s street crime. Freedom died with Etan Patz. The mob didn't just exist in 1970s New York, they ran it. Garment District, controlled by the Gambinos, Fulton Fish Market, Genovese family, JFK Airport cargo theft, Lucchese operation, Teamsters Union, completely compromised. In March 1980, Teamster official Salvatore Briguglio was shot 5 times outside a Little Italy social club. Broad daylight, crowded street, multiple witnesses. Nobody saw anything. Briguglio was connected to Jimmy Hoffa's disappearance. His murder sent a message, talk, and this is your fate. The NYPD knew who ordered the hit, everyone knew, but prosecuting the mob required witnesses, and witnesses had a habit of dying before trial. A fur coat store owner in the Bronx openly catered to mobsters. She didn't hide it. Middle-class customers avoided her because of her street life, so she built her business on organized crime connections. You minded your business, she recalled. You did what you had to do, and nobody stood in your way. That was the unspoken rule of 1970s New York. See nothing, say nothing, survive. The city wasn't governed by law, it was governed by fear and mutual silence. When institutions collapse, power vacuums get filled. In New York, organized crime filled that vacuum completely. If you walked through Times Square in 1980, you weren't in New York. You were in a combat zone. 42nd Street between 7th and 8th Avenue, 2,300 crimes in 1 year. Prostitution operated openly. Drug dealers sold heroin on corners in front of cops who'd given up enforcing laws. Peep shows and pornography theaters lined every block. Violence was constant, random, unpredictable. A Minnesota tourist family visited Times Square in 1979. They were surrounded by a group demanding money. When the father refused, he was stabbed. His children watched him bleed on the sidewalk while people stepped over them. Tourists stopped coming. Businesses closed. Broadway theaters nearly collapsed. Times Square became a symbol. When society breaks down, depravity fills the void. But here's what gets forgotten in all the chaos, crime, and collapse. People stayed. Artists moved into $50 a month apartments in the Lower East Side. Hip-hop was born in the Bronx amid the burning buildings. A woman who worked in massage parlors to fund her artwork said it perfectly. I liked the bleakness because you could dream in that. You could dream new things. The people who stayed weren't staying for safety or comfort. They stayed because New York, even at its worst, offered something other places didn't: authenticity. No corporate sanitization, no planned communities, no surveillance cameras on every corner. Just raw, dangerous, beautiful freedom. A night manager at McDonald's in the Bronx got shot during an attempted kidnapping. The bullet lodged in the base of his neck. His reflection: it was at that moment I decided you can't be in it, and not of it. He didn't leave. He fought back. He joined the guardian angels. These people, the ones who refused to give up, they rebuilt New York. Not the politicians, not the bankers, not the developers. The people who stayed through the darkness. Between 1975 and 1981, New York City learned a brutal lesson. Civilization is fragile. Remove funding, remove police, remove consequences for crime, and society collapses in months. The city that nearly died didn't recover by defunding institutions further. It recovered by rebuilding them, slowly, painfully, with tremendous human cost. Today, we hear calls to defund police, to reduce enforcement, to reimagine public safety. Maybe that's the right answer. Maybe it's not. But before we decide, we should remember what happened last time. We should remember the people who lived through it, who survived it, who carry those scars. Because history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. And if you listen closely, you can hear the echoes. New York survived its darkest years. The question is, can it survive forgetting them? If this story reminded you of something important, hit that like button. Subscribe for more Untold history, and drop a comment. Do you think we're heading back to those dark years? Or have we learned the lesson?